How to add a list of figures and a table of contents in the same document. In the previous video, we saw how to add a table of contents to our document in Google Docs. Now, let's see what we can do if, in addition to the table of contents, we also need a list of figures, images, or charts. So right here below the table of contents, we are going to add our list of figures, images, or charts. And how are we going to do this? Well, in a very similar way to how we created the table of contents for the main sections of the document. If you remember, what we did was select the heading for each section and, as you can see here, we formatted that text. In this case, we chose heading 2. We did the same for all the headings we wanted in that table of contents. We selected the text, applied our chosen format, heading 2. And by doing this for each section, we got this table of contents. Remember, to add it to the document, you just need to click up here on the top menu on Insert, then on Page Elements, and finally here on Table of Contents. Now, let's move on to our list of figures. The first thing you need to do is have the images you want to use ready on your computer. I've marked the location in the document for each of the 4 images I'm going to add. I'm going to add the first image, placing it right here at my placeholder. Then, I need to click on the image and make sure this option is selected, in line. Next, right below the image, we're going to add the description that will appear in our list of figures. I'll paste the text, and as you can see, it goes right below the image. Figure 1, digital artist surrounded by creative icons. The next step is to format this text so it can be integrated into our list of figures later. But keep in mind, we shouldn't use heading 2 because that's the one we're using for the general index, the table of contents. First, let's change its appearance so it looks the way we want. For example, I'm going to make it italic. Use the Cambria font and set the size to 12. Now we're going to apply a heading style and select heading 3. Like I mentioned earlier, this prevents it from mixing into the table of contents, which is using heading 2. The first time you apply this heading 3, click right here on Update Heading 3 to match. This ensures that every time you apply this heading, the text will look exactly like what you just defined. Italic, Cambria font, and font size 12. To confirm that the text sits right below the image without any extra space, make sure this option you see here is turned off. Remove space after paragraph. Now let's do the same for the rest of the images. Here we go with figure number 2, which is this one right here. I'm going to add it at the placeholder and type the text below the image. Remember, the inline mode must be enabled so that the text stays right below the image. After that, apply the heading 3 format. We'll do the same for image number 3, the one you see here, with the reference text. Figure 3, an artistic portrait featuring a sophisticated fashion style. And finally, the last image, number 4, which will be at the end of the document. Remember to apply the heading 3 format and double-check that the whole document looks exactly the way you want. Alright, so now that we have all 4 images with their descriptions, let's go to the beginning of the document and click on the exact spot where we want our list of figures to appear. Remember, you need to click on Insert in the top menu, then on Page Elements, and finally here on Table of Contents. I prefer the plain text option, so I'm going to choose that one. Now, what we have here are 2 indexes showing the exact same thing, but don't worry, the solution is very simple. We are going to configure the list of figures to only display text formatted with heading 3, meaning the descriptions we added below the images, just like you saw a moment ago, without the heading 2 of the table of contents. Let's customize the list by first clicking on it and then clicking up here on the top left, on these 3 vertical dots where you can see the text More Options. As you can see over here on the right, we have the formats included in that list or figures. At the top, you can change the visual style of the table, and down here, you select which heading levels you want to include. If you look closely, we have heading 3 selected, but we also have heading 2, which is for the main sections, and those headings too are already part of the table of contents. So we're going to deselect heading 2 and leave only heading 3 for our list of figures. If you prefer the text to be bold, all you need to do is select the text and click on the bold option. And if you want them to match perfectly, just check the font type and size so that both lists share a similar look. Now, simply double-check that everything looks correct. If you decide to add more text or images later, just follow these exact same steps. And when you're done, don't forget to update the list so it displays the correct page location for each image. And that's it. Now you have both indexes in the same document. And as you can see, it wasn't complicated at all. If you found this helpful, please give it a like and subscribe to the channel, because we'll be sharing more great content very soon. Thank you for your time, and I'll see you in the next video.